There's a moment, man, and you'll know it when it hits. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, like an internal click. It happens when you stop checking your phone, stop wondering what she's thinking, stop showing up in spaces where you're no longer appreciated, and something shifts, not in her, in you. Because the minute you stop chasing is the minute you start choosing, and the more you choose yourself, the more everything around you starts to realign. Your focus sharpens, your energy elevates, your peace returns. That's when she feels it. That's when she notices, because the man she thought would always be there suddenly isn't. Let's talk about what happens when you stop chasing. Not just her, but validation, approval, and everything else that kept you small. Point 1. She feels the change before she understands it. Before she even notices you're gone, she feels it. The energy she used to rely on, that soft, steady warmth you always gave, it disappears. And at first, she can't place it. She just starts feeling uneasy, restless, like something's missing, but she can't quite explain it. That's because energy doesn't lie. She got used to yours. And when it's gone, the silence speaks before the logic kicks in. You didn't block her. You didn't rant. You just stopped feeding her energy she didn't earn anymore. That shift, it haunts her before it even makes sense to her. Point 2. You no longer dance for her attention. You used to perform, didn't you? Text first, drop compliments, pretend you weren't bothered, try to be the nice guy because you thought she'd eventually choose you. But here's the truth. Women don't fall for the guy who dances for attention. They fall for the man who commands it without even trying. When you stop chasing, you stop entertaining. You're no longer tap dancing for her approval. You're walking in silence with purpose. And that kind of presence, it's rare, it's powerful, it gets noticed. Point 3. Your progress becomes unreachable. The moment you stop chasing her, you start chasing growth. And while she's still watching your story, trying to read your silence, you're upgrading mentally, physically, spiritually. You become hard to keep up with, not because you're playing games, but because your momentum becomes untouchable. You used to wait on her responses. Now she can't keep up with your evolution. And the higher you climb, the harder it is for her to reach the man she once took for granted. That's not revenge, that's reality. Point 4. You stop apologizing for being too much. Remember those days when you thought you were too intense, too emotional, too deep, too consistent. You thought you had to shrink just to be accepted. But when you stop chasing, you stop apologizing. You start realizing your depth isn't a flaw, it's your filter. You weren't too much. You were just trying to give your everything to someone who couldn't even hold space for it. Now, you no longer dim yourself. You just protect your light, and she starts noticing that glow from a distance. Point 5. You learn the power of absence. You used to think presence proved your value, but then you stopped showing up. You stopped responding instantly. You let the silence grow roots. And that absence, that's when you realized it's more powerful than anything you ever said. When you remove yourself with grace, no drama, no noise, it leaves a mark. Not because you wanted it to, but because she finally saw the space you used to fill. Absence, when earned, doesn't create curiosity. It creates reflection, and reflection always leads to regret. Point 6. You build a life that doesn't include her. When you stop chasing her, you start building without her, and that's where true detachment begins. Your goals stop being about impressing her. Your routines stop revolving around her. Everything becomes about you, your vision, your discipline, your freedom. And the wild part, that's the life she always wanted to be a part of. But now that you're no longer trying to bring her into it, she wants back in. Because you didn't replace her with another woman, you replaced her with purpose. Point 7. You start feeling like a man again. When you were chasing, you felt drained, uncertain, unstable, not because you were weak, but because you were disconnected from your own strength. But now, you've got standards, direction, boundaries. You look in the mirror and actually respect the man looking back. You're no longer driven by what she thinks. You're driven by who you're becoming. And that self-respect, it does more for you than her love ever could. Because being a man isn't about being needed. It's about being centered, with or without her. Point 8. She starts to crave the version of you that doesn't need her. This is the irony, bro. The second you stop needing her, She starts needing your presence again. Not because you manipulated her, but because you stopped being available on demand. She starts romanticizing the old you, the attention, the warmth, but the version she wants now isn't coming back because you've outgrown that version. You're not chasing anymore, you're choosing, and if she doesn't meet the new standard, she doesn't get access. Simple as that. So let this sink in, bro. The second you stop chasing, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your power returns, and the woman who once overlooked you starts to feel that loss. But by then, it's not about her anymore. It's about you. You didn't stop chasing to win her back. You stopped chasing to win yourself back. And that version of you, she can't manipulate, she can't control, she can't forget. If you're done chasing and ready to reclaim your power, drop a comment below that simply says, "No chase." Because the man who walks without chasing, he's already ahead.